Hi everybody, today is Wednesday, January 19th, and here's our message for all of our folks who are not with us. We miss you, we can't wait for you to come back. I wanted to start by looking at the math lesson. It comes to us from chapter 9, so we're hopping to chapter 9 for a lesson, lesson 9.6, and it is adding fractional parts of 10 and 100. And on the board behind me, I have a math problem that we're going to add together. So if you look at the two fractions, you can see that those fractions don't have the same denominator. So what we need to do when we're working with fractions with different denominators is we need to first find common denominators. We do that by finding the multiples of the denominator. And if you remember from before, we always start by writing the multiples of the smaller number first, because in many cases, the denominator is actually the larger of the two denominators. So here's what it looks like, 10 and 100. So I'm going to start by writing my multiples of 10. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, ding, 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 I found a match. My least common multiple, oops, let me turn the computer. My least common multiple is 100. So I'm going to make both of my fractions have a denominator of 100. This one already has a denominator of 100, so I'm going to be focusing my attention on the fraction on the left. So if I add this in here, remember what we learned about when we started fractions, equivalent fractions. Whatever you do to the bottom, you got to do to the top. Or the same, whatever you do to the top, you do to the bottom. So 10 times what gives me 100? Well, I know that 10 times 10 is 100. And whatever I do to the bottom, I got to do to the top. So my new numerator is 10. So now I have an equivalent fraction that is 10 over 100. And 10 hundredths plus 50 hundredths, they have the same denominator, so I'm just adding the numerators together. So 10 plus 50 is 60 100ths. Okay? That is just a little bigger than half, but the answer to that problem is 60 100ths. And that's what this lesson is about. Finding common denominators and then adding the fractions together. There is a Think Central assignment. We worked on this again in groups. Keep in mind that Friday we do have that online practice interim. It's on the computer, and it's going to be checking the units that we've been doing that relate to fractions. So it's the perfect time. It's not a gradebook grade, but it is something that is important to see how we're doing in the course of the whole school year. In reading class, we're continuing to look at Hercules and Hercules' quest, okay, from our magazine, starting at page 22. Yesterday's packet had a Venn diagram, and that Venn diagram was asking you to compare Hercules and Atlas. So today we worked on adding to our Venn diagram and listening to the story one more time, because it is an extended read, so it's a longer story. So we added to our Venn diagram, and I'm going to hold that up. If you're at home, you might want to pause this video and take a look at what we've written. But these are the things that we found that were similar and different between the two stories. Another thing that we did is today is Wednesday, so we looked at the next question in our packet. How are Molly and Hercules alike? How are they different? And this is Hercules from the story this week, and Molly from last week, Molly Whoopie. So, like I said, we did read the story again, and now this is what everyone is working on in class. So tomorrow, as a class, we will be looking at how are Molly and Hercules alike and how they are different. And it was really helpful because if one person said something, it made another person think of something and said, oh yeah, well, what about this? So we will definitely be talking about that again tomorrow. On the back of that page, we have some practice with our adjective suffixes, and that is the spelling words for this week. So this is the back of the Wednesday paper. We also started reading in our groups the first chapter or so of our new reading group book, and those are new today. So we're just kind of getting started. So if you have your book, you can read the first chapter or so of the book to familiarize yourself with, one, the type of book it is, and two, to kind of get the beginning of the book so that when you come back, you're ready to roll. We look forward to seeing you, and if you have any questions, have your mom or dad send me a message on the Remind app. See you soon.